So welcome everybody to Profitable Salon Owners. This great group was meant to create a lot of tips and helps and community around profitability, about how to create a company that works for your lifestyle. So today, my first live video, I wanted to just first honor you and thank you for coming into this group today. And I am in beautiful Bellingham, right behind me. I'm sitting in an Airstream. Both Bill and I bought this Airstream less than a month ago. We decided that since we cannot go to conferences this year, then we're just going to travel around the country and work in our Airstream because we can do it and we want to do it. And we want to be building and visiting many salons around the country. So today, live is about a thought. I want to provoke a thought, you to think about something. You know, when we started coming into this industry, we started obviously as a hairdressers, and our first initial thing was to build a really strong hair skills so we can have a very successful and confident feeling about doing incredible job at providing beautiful looks and making people feel really happy. We are happy and we are people pleaser, right? So that's kind of what was our goal. So our intent was to be really successful at what we're doing. Now the next thing was, okay, we're so successful, we have a great book of business, let's open a salon because we want to grow. So that was the entrepreneurial side in us. We want to create a company. No, so when we create a company, anything that is more than two people in a company becomes a company, right? Three is a company. How do you develop a very good team today? What do you need to do in order to develop a great team today? Well, there's a lot of great leaders and thought leaders out there that gives us a lot of great tips. You know, one of the things that Steve Jobs always offer is a creating a thought or creating a great question around the question of what if. What if I built something the way I want to live my life? What if I build something that represent the things that I want my life to look like, to feel like, to be like, to show up, whatever that might be. So I want to challenge you guys all to think like this for just a little bit. To think about, instead of thinking, I want to build a company, and whatever that company might be would be, because we never really plan it, I want you to think about what kind of a company or what kind of a role do you want to play in it. So anything that comes out to your mind, I want you to think about what would be the perfect week in your lifestyle. What would it be like right now? You might be in your 20s, you might be in your 30s, in your 40s, your 50s. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you establish exactly your intention. What's your intent? In the early days, my intention was to please people. I wanted to make people happy. And therefore, I was not doing the best that I can do for them, because I was trying to really work hard to make them happy, but not me happy. And how can I be so good at what I do if I'm trying to please other people? So I want you to think about what would look and ask yourself, what would be the perfect week in your life? How many hours do you want to work a day? How many days do you want to work a week? Out of those days, do you want to be the operator, the producer, or do you want to be a CEO of a company? You know, the one that is the visionary, the one that leads into the promised land, which you need to figure out what is your promised land for yourself, right? So what would be the perfect week? Then I want you to ask yourself, what would be the perfect month? What would it look like? And then I want you to think about, well, what would look for the perfect year? How would you show up? How many vacations days do you want to have? How many do you want to be at home for dinner, or do you want to be at home for breakfast? Do you want to spend the time with your family? How much time do you want to spend with your family? What do you want to do with your free time? Right? So all of those things needs to come out into the what if. What if I have the lifestyle that I want? What would it be like? So that's the first thing I want you to think about. Then I want you to think about in terms of socialism and in terms of spirituality. What would you like for you into your spiritual life? What would you like in terms of community building? Would you like to be part of of an activist? Would you like to be part of a community in your area? Would you like to be part of a nonprofit? Would you like to be part of a community and a global cause in the world? What would your social life look like? And what would your spiritual life look like? Really think about it. Take your time. Once you do that, I want you to do the third thing. And this is an amazing tip. I want you to think about, well, if you wanted to do that A to Z, what would it cost? What's the number on it? And I want you to write it down. Will that be $10,000 a month? So I can do all the things that I want. Is it $5,000 a month? Is it $2,000 a month? Okay. And don't want you to think in terms of what are my bills and let me cover them. I want you to think in terms of I want to own a house. I want to own a boat. I want to travel 3 or 4 weeks out of the year. I want to take 2 days off a week. I want you to put a number on this. Okay. It's not easy. It sounds easy, but it's not easy. I want you to do it. Now, once you figure all this out, that's when you figure that this is how you want to show up as a boss, as a CEO, as an operator. Don't think about how am I going to do it. That's just the wrong question. Think about how can I get myself off the limit of thinking of how. Just now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about what if money was not an issue, time was not an issue, but all it is, I can get this, the what if question. Steve Jobs' philosophy. What if I can create a phone that can solve so many problems? So this is what I want you to think. Now, in order to build a phenomenal team, once you figure out these questions, you need to ask your team questions. The same thing. Same thing. Now, you might find out that some of the team members on your team maybe don't want the same thing. Okay? So they might not be the right match. You might find out, and probably so, that most of the people on your team members, want the same thing, which is an extraordinary achievement. These questions are a great foundation to ask your future staff in an interview. These are phenomenal questions because the answer that you get is that they want the same thing. Now, once you figure that out, all of that, now you can reverse engineer it and build a company to serve these purposes. And if you're asking yourself, what are you talking about? Can I actually afford something like this? Or can I create something like this? And I would say, whatever that you want, yes, you can create. We're going to talk about the how within the next few days and few weeks, because that's the easy thing. The most important thing is to imagine or reimagine what you really want and how you want to show up. And let's start there. Okay, let's start there.